Okay, so let's get started.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're basically going to be talking about fast forward, which is from scientific learning. Just a little bit of introduction so that, you know, in case you need to answer questions about that. So basically scientific learning started, the research began a long, long time ago. And it is from the research that found a few different things. I think some of these things we kind of take it for granted that everything is known now, but at that time it was still quite new in the sense that intensive exercises can improve core cognitive and linguistic skills. That you can acoustically modify speech technology to help a wide range of skills pertaining to language development and reading. And of course, brain exercises should be interactive and adapt to the learner. So, it gets progressively harder. And if you follow that principles, you can have growth in terms of reading or language gains in as little as a few weeks.
Yeah. The intensive exercise. Do you have some research
Backing.
for me? Do you have those research
showing that intensive exercises are important?
Yeah. It's showing how, what exercise help what part of the brain. Do you have those?
Yeah. And we basically explain it in a very simple way. Like if you want to improve your movement, right, you have to move. You know, if you want to improve your auditory processing, which language builds upon sounds. So language is essentially us making sounds, right? So, and if you want to improve that, then you have to build the sound structure and you really have to listen, right? So we often tell them that, the simple way to think about it, and that's how we explain to parents, is that if you need to improve your visual brain, you need to visualize. If you need to improve your auditory brain to improve language and phonics and reading, then you need to improve the listening part of and you need to do listening exercises, right? So it's often, does that help? So if you want to improve focus, for example, you really need to engage in activities that you're focusing, that is, so computer games doesn't work. I mean, fun computer games, right? I'm not talking about, well-developed games like Fast Forward. But if you are playing, a shooting computer game and you are really attentive, that's not going to help you, remain, focus more because, as you are playing a high-energy game, is really not the focus muscle that's being used, all right? Because there's a lot of adrenaline and neurochemicals that help you to stay focused. So what you really need to do is to do exercises that are making you focus even though you are not highly excited, right? So basically, in order to improve a function, you need to get to the core of what brain muscle that is using. And typically, when you need to improve a brain muscle, it is very similar to improving a physical muscle. So if your arm muscles are weak, you really need to lift weights, right? If your abdominals are weak, you need to do, crunches. So the brain is very similar to the body in that regards, that you have to exercise pertaining to that area. So in this case, we are looking at fast forward, of course, is very into language, auditory processing, and reading. And all these share a common trait, which is the ability of the brain to process sounds, and especially sounds at a very rapid level, because language, as scientists has found, is one of the fastest tasks the brain has to process. If you are talking, how are you today? I'm fine, thank you. What did you do this morning? I went to the doctor and then I had a training, right? So you are exchanging information in split seconds, right? So this requires what we call rapid auditory processing. I might have mentioned it the last time, right? So the brain needs to be able to manipulate sounds very rapidly. And this is one of the core roots of why I think fast forward is successful. So it processes sounds at the human level, at the language level that you have to be exposed to, and for the users, at the rapid level. And the other thing is that in order to wire it, typically the users, you have to work, right? So I compare I mean, this is how I explain to parents, right? Okay, if I compare lifting weights, right? Okay, so I am trying to improve my arm muscle, right? So I'm holding a weight and I'm using my effort to lift it. Now that's good. That's good because that helps me to build the muscle. However, if I'm not lifting, but you are kind of like, exercising for me, right? That doesn't help me. So even though I'm moving, but you are the one that's holding for me. So at the end of the day, that doesn't help my muscle to bulk. So what really happens when you want the brain to be improving in some of these rapid auditory processing, as we have said, is that the learner needs to be listening to these rapid sounds and then responding to it. So the process of listening, giving the right answer, that is like lifting, right? So nobody can do it for you. So we often tell parents, don't give the answers, because it's not about getting it right. So parents sometimes think it's about getting it right. So they give the children the answers. And that doesn't help them live. That is like moving their arm for them. All right. So you are moving just to get through the number of repetitions, but you are not actually getting the muscles to beef up. Right. So in the same way, when you are training the brain, the user has often got to be actively engaging in an activity to build up that muscle. So not a passive absorption. So it's not like teaching. So teaching is different from brain training. All right. You can tell things to the child, but at the end of the day, that brain got to be actively exercising. So this is very much the essence of brain training. It's like a gym. All right. You got to be working, you got to be listening, you got to be focusing, or you got to be visualizing, depending on what we are doing, and giving the answers. All right. So basically what Fast Forward has done, and what these 4 researchers, so basically Bill Jenkins, William Jenkins, and Michael Mersnick, the 2 guys, on the screen on the left side, so they are experts in brain training. So they actually spend a lot of their early research days in the lab training monkeys to be smarter. So if you listen to them, they were training monkeys to actually use their fingers to try and scoop for food, all right? And they were looking at what is driving a monkey to be smarter than another monkey, right? They're looking at exercises for these monkeys. And so they found that it has to be interactive, the monkeys got to be working, the activities got to be getting harder and harder, in order to get the monkeys to be smarter. So they were studying the conditions that help a brain change. Now, on the other hand, Dr. Paula Talal and Dr. Stephen Miller, their research is a little bit different. They were actually looking at children and how they were acquiring language and reading skills. So they were more the language kind of research people. All right. And Dr. Paula Talal, her research was very much, she was the one who really found out that, speed is such an essential a component of language, right? Which at that time, nobody was really thinking about speed of sound or how the brain is having, whether the brain has that speed. And so she was the one who really, got into that. And Dr. Stephen Miller was researching with her. So these 2 group of scientists then meet at a conference, and Dr. Paula Talal was explaining that some children may have language difficulty, may have reading difficulty because of some of these things she was seeing, that their brain was not fast enough. And then, the 2 guys, Dr. Bill Jenkins and Dr. Michael Mersnick, then realized that, these are the areas that you can train the brain. So then together they build Fast Forward. So the company really came from the bottom up rather than, a business, let's find something to sell. But, they really were researchers that was found, trying to solve a problem that they were, encountering in the areas of research. Now, let me move on. So then the products came around, all right? So after many years of research, this came about, all right? So you will see that there are language products, and now it's called foundation, all right? So if you ever see any materials, they call it the language product or foundation products, they mean the same thing, all right? I'm just going to improve this slide after our talk before I send it to you, because language is the same as foundation because they've kind of just changed the name. If it builds the foundational reading and language skills, all right, for younger students, and then you will see a literacy range. Now, language and literacy are very similar, and this you need to know, yeah, because it links to assignment when you are assigning the program for them, the students to train. So literacy and language or foundation is now called, are very similar in terms of the content. It goes through all the foundational sounds and all the language components that somebody needs to have. The key difference is actually the graphics. and the interfaces and some of the language components. It's a little bit more sophisticated in terms of the graphics for the literacy programs because they are more tailored to the older learners. So typically adolescents, we would mean maybe from 11 years old, like primary 4 or primary 5 in Singapore onwards. So that's about, 11 years and up. Then we would tend to start using literacy. For a younger child, from the last time I mentioned, from about 5 years old and up, all right, we typically will enter through language or foundation. The inside, the content's very similar again, all right. Language, for literacy, the language component has harder language, but the sound games are very similar, but the key difference is the graphics. Okay.
So does it mean that the older people, like adolescent or adult, they start with literacy?
Literacy, correct.
Right?
Because the foundation, they might feel that is too cartoony. It looks like a cartoon. And then some of the teens, they might not be very motivated. They think it's a baby game. So they basically change the graphics, but a lot of the foundations are the same. Okay, so that's just things to know. Then beyond these, and these language or foundation and literacy programs, they are very, very heavy, as you will see, in the core auditory processing. So there are very few letters or words on the screen, even though we are using it to tackle dyslexia, which is a reading problem. So one of the common questions is parents will ask, how can you use something like that when the kids are not even reading? All right, so they will ask you that, I'm coming here for a reading program. How come my child is not reading? There is no words on the screen. So then you have to explain to them that it begins with targeting the very core listening. They have to be strong listeners first before the visual components come in. All right, and then they link the visual and the auditory. So by the time they have finished these core cognitive products, then you get into reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the next series. Now, in the reading series, you will see reading. You actually be reading words, reading sentences, reading paragraphs, doing punctuation. That's when the reading comes. But we typically leave it as the second level, second phase. All right, so the first phase is to improve the core cognition first, which is including attention to sounds, auditory processing of sounds. Okay, and then the last part.
I just want the reading part. Does it mean visual reading or auditory reading?
It will be visual words. So it's really, and some different games might have it read to you depending on the level, all right? But you will find that it is actually working on reading itself, like sentence structure, synonyms, vocabulary.
Yeah, through the visual learning. Now, so I have an adult who has a problem when he attend to meetings. Speak too many things, he got lost and he couldn't concentrate, and he couldn't pick up the content of the meeting.
Yeah. So
that means if I suggest him to do this work, so he will start with the literacy part.
Correct.
Adults.
Correct.
But then I think the problem is like on the auditory reception, not the visual reading. So maybe the reading part is not as important for him then. I don't know. I'm just asking questions now.
Correct. Your thinking is correct. All right. So the reading series is more really reading. But if you get to reading 5, which is the highest level of the reading programs, it is quite difficult. So if his problem is with meeting, with absorbing all the information, organizing all the information, you are absolutely correct that literacy. And literacy has 2 levels, by the way. So there's literacy and literacy advanced, but we all put it under kind of the basic, programs, all right? So, but it's actually 2 levels there, yeah? So you will want him to get through the 2. That works, by literacy advanced, you start to see words and letters, but it's still quite heavy on the auditory processing, right? But by the reading, if he says that when he's reading, it's also taking time, when it's complex, when he has to read manuals, it is also slow because it is find it taxing, hard to concentrate, then you find that the high levels of reading might be useful for him as well. But you are correct that, in a meeting, if he's just listening to people and that's when he gets lost, then your focus is on the literacy. But if he also does complain that with the harder text, he does find it very tedious. Often they can understand it, but they find it's very taxing. Then you find that doing something like reading 5 may improve the processing of the written words when it becomes difficult. Okay.
So I have a lawyer client who has difficulty because lawyer have to read a lot of document.
Yeah.
And she has some kind of reading difficulties, similar but not exactly dyslexia, but similar to dyslexia.
Yeah.
So in that case, then how would these products help? Does she have to go through the literacy part?
Yes, I would still go through the literacy part, because every time you are tackling reading, all right, you always want to start from the foundation. And then you let them know, right, if it is not an issue, they will get through the exercises very quickly. And in the process, it sharpens up their auditory processing anyway, you know, and their focus. So for example, some of my coaches, right, so I put my teachers, I make them, you know, do the exercises. So some of the feedback from them, for example, that one of them has ever commented that, oh, now when she watches a movie, and these are English, you know, in Singapore, English is the first language, right? So they have no issue with English, but she says that as she is watching a movie, now she is less dependent on reading the subtitles, for example. All right. So the products are good even for like regular healthy people, you know, from that point of view. All right. So you don't really need a disability or a problem, but you find that it is really working on your attention. You're going to be paying attention and focusing. And nowadays, adults are losing their focus as well because they're multitasking, you know, so many things going on. So they find that they will actually improve, all right, because they'll be made to focus. So it's a good thing. Right. And if that lawyer has some dyslexic tendency, so anything with dyslexia or reading is tedious, you always want to come back and start with the literacy programs to build that foundation for the auditory processing. Okay. And then there is another group, and this is quite different now, with reading assistant. All right. I'm not sure whether you will be using it a lot. We actually do not use it a lot at our center, all right? But reading assistant is actually a reading coach where you are actually reading out loud, all right? So you now need a pair of headsets with a mic because it's using mic, you know, voice recognition technology. So you're actually reading into the computer a book. All right, so you actually see on your screen like a book, a text, right, with words. All right, so maybe a baby book might be I can jump, you know, I like to jump on a rope or something, right? So you're actually reading, and if you are not able to read a word like a rope, all right, so you are jumping, all right, and you go then the computer recognizes that you are not able to pronounce it. It will read it out for you on the headset. So then you can say, oh, jumping, and then you try and pronounce it again. So it's basically a reading coach. It's like an adult, all right, reading with you. If you don't know the words, I tell you the words, except that this is in the form of a computer coaching you. Okay, so that part is
really the word. You can press the button and they will speak out for you.
Yes, as well, correct.
You just speak out. And you just hear yourself through the microphone, right?
Correct. All right. So it's really a reading, you know, kind of like you know, more kind of school kind of reading kind of program. All right. So whereas the core is kind of the other programs. So I'll be coming back this again and again so that you can find it easier to remember. Now I want to go into the science a little bit. So here is Dr. Paula Talau's research, and then I will link for you back to the programs, right? So Dr. Paula Talau, and you can see this is 1973, a long time ago. She was actually doing her PhD in Oxford, and so she if you listen to her present, you know, it's quite interesting, right? So she was actually doing this part of the study. It wasn't even her core study, but she had to rule out some of these auditory processing issues, and she wasn't expecting differences in the kids, and she was quite shocked, and because of this she actually had to change her study, right? So she had two groups of kids come into her lab. So one was the control group of kids in blue, and she had the language impaired kids come in as well, and she was of course researching on them. And the task that she gave them in this particular study was quite simple. The kids came in, they put on headsets, and they would listen to two tones of sound. One was a high tone, also you can see tone 1 is 100 hertz, and the tone 2 was a higher frequency, all right? So it's like whip, whoop, is something like that, all right? One is a higher pitch and one is a lower pitch. And she wanted to hear whether they had you know, the issues there. And the other thing that she wanted to measure was the length of time between the two tones. I'll give you an example here. I hope you can hear it. Can you hear it on your end?
Yeah.
Doop, doop, right? Can you hear two tones, right? One is a toop and one is a toop, right? So all the kids had to do was to click whether it was a toop or a toop or toop toop or toop toop, right? They just had to click that for her. But what she manipulated was the time of silence between the two tones. So in this sound, toop toop, the in-between silence gap was about 500 milliseconds between toop and toop. It was a 500 milliseconds of silence. Then she brought the two tones closer together. So if you listen here, to-doop, all right, so it's now closer. To-doop. So at this closeness is about 100 milliseconds apart. Then she brought them even closer. To-doop. So it's very close, right? It's like it's almost like one tone. They're kind of stuck together. And here is about 10 milliseconds, all right? And to her surprise, the control kids started making errors by the time these two tones start to become closer at about 300 milliseconds, but they were still generally correct, above 85% correct. But the students who had language impairment started to have a great difficulty identifying that there were two tones. All right, so a lot of them felt that there was only one tone. They could no longer hear the gap, the silence in between toop and toop. So they started making a lot of errors. So a lot of them were only like 50% correct, all right, which is chance level. So a drastic drop compared to the control group of kids. And what was alarming for her immediately was that if you look at syllable, all right, so she was kind of measuring sounds and all that, like a syllable, an umbrella, umbrella, there are 3 syllables, right? So umbrella, each syllable is actually about 40 to 350 milliseconds long. And each phoneme, which is the shortest component of sound, like k, t, all right, it's a phoneme, all right? The short consonant sounds are especially short compared to the vowel A, E, I, O, U, all right? The consonant sounds typically is only 40 milliseconds. So like cat, set, bat, all right? So the difference between dog and log is only the first 40 milliseconds of onset, all right, because it's a very short consonant. So she was thinking that could it be that the kids were not even able to process these syllables because it's at about 300 milliseconds that they started having trouble, all right, and lower. So she started paying a lot of attention, and as she researched, she realized that it was true. As the sounds get shorter, the kids did not seem to be able to process it, the very short duration of sounds. All right, so they were missing out when it was very fast. All right, so she started raising the alarm that actually the acoustics, the kids were already being lost. Therefore, it's a hard time for them to be learning all the blending of sounds, you know, like k, t, mix cat, you know, and because they are all short sounds, all right, and then now you have to blend it together. It's even harder when you can't even process it in the first place. So that began her direction of research. And Fast Forward is very much around this early research. This is another nice slide.
Say, say.
So do you hear a say, right? And then at the bottom?
Stay, stay.
So the top, you sound, you know, and we all know that sound is travels through vibration, right? So the top is actually the pattern of a say and the bottom is the pattern of a stay. And this is the sound wave pattern. But what really differentiates a say and a
Can you speak a little bit louder? Yeah.
What differentiates a stay and a say is actually 100 milliseconds of silence. So if there is a silence gap of 100 milliseconds in the first 1/3 of a sound, actually it creates a t. So say becomes perceived as stay. All right. So it's the only difference, while the two words have different meanings, they have different sounds, what is really different is the 100 milliseconds of silence gap. All right, it completely distorts the sound into another word altogether. So what we know is that the importance of timing, the importance of fractions of a millisecond of difference can give you a big difference in the final perception of your word or your sound in the brain. All right. So we're not even saying that these kids are very slow or these brains are slow. We are really talking about them losing the rapid speed. All right, the milliseconds, all right, the fraction of a second of sound processing. All right, so so that's an important concept because in Fast Forward is very much based on that. I'm just trying to see if I can find actually a pair of headsets, and I'm going to speak into it so that, might be easier for you. And sorry, but my
Yeah, no problem.
sorry about that. I don't have the headsets with my.
It's okay. I can hear you, but maybe there's some part you maybe it's just a bit far, so that's why.
I'll just come closer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, good. So, and now this slide just shows the mastering the reading system. So this one really goes into more of reading already. All right, so that's that part about the speed of sound that's important. Now, this is a very nice slide. I thought, it tells you, the different parts of the brain that you need to use when you're trying to decode a simple word like cat, right? In this example. So you, first of all, right, you have to see the words, all right? So the visual parts, and it corresponds to the parts of the brain that are being used. So the back part of the brain starts to be active because you have that visual processing. You have to be able to see the k, the eh, and the t, all right, all the letters through your eyes. But then you have to very quickly, so there's processing speed involved. And of course, the memory of the sounds needs to come in. You need to link the sound to the visual, you see. So you need to know that visual V, a k, cat C, or a curve gives you the k sound. You need to know that A that looks like that gives you the S sound. So the phonological processing starts to come in together very quickly, and you have to hold these sounds, of course, in your phonological brain, and then you identify the word. All right, that's when you go, oh, cat. All right, but it doesn't stop there. It continues, and now you have to recall the word. All right, bring it to your word bank, which is kind of where your memory sits, and finally comprehend immediately when you see these three letters that, oh, it's a four-legged animal, it likes to drink milk, it can be a house pet, domesticated, that kind of thing, comprehension. So this is really what is needed in the brain, which is quite rich, in order to get from the word all the way to comprehension, actual comprehension of the text. All right, so there are many components of the brain that is actually needed. So reading is difficult. All right, it is an invented activity, and many parts of the brain need to work together to be able to read. All right, and for some people it becomes difficult. And so when the scientists summarize it, so they really focus on, the core cognitive skills are needed would be the learning maps. We call it MAPS. All right, so learning MAPS, learning maps. All right, memory, attention, processing speed for P, and then sequencing. So these are very, very core elements in fast forward. So you will find that
about the sequencing,
yeah, sequencing is really like, like dog is DOG, right? Like God is God is another word, right? So language is very important. The sequence, the fine sequence, like one after the other. All right, the sentence create. So there's a lot of activity that, like for example, they have a game, right? Like they may get you to sequence the sound, like weep weep whoop weep whoop. Now not only do you have to be able to interpret the sound, hold the memory, but the sequence is also important. Is it weep first or whoop first? All right, and what comes next? All right, so they do work quite a bit on these four key.
So if it is a Chinese language, then the sequencing may be different because each word has only one sound.
Correct. So the sequencing of English is very different. So for Chinese, the visual component is actually a bit harder. So the demand is heavier on the visualizing. You are correct. All right. So what fast forward can help with the Chinese language is more the tones, the Hanyu pinyin, the tones, because Cantonese is even harder. Cantonese has 7 tones, right? Mandarin has 4 tones, right? And if you are not very good in the tones, all right, so you can miss the emotional cues. In Singapore, because both languages are important, you find that tones, if you have an issue, often really makes learning the Chinese very difficult. But if you have a sequencing issue, then English becomes a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, so where is tone in these four areas? Where would the tone fall into which area?
I would put it under processing rate. All right, so it's the sweep of so there's one particular game later you will see where it plays with not only the frequency, the frequency gives you the tone really, like it's a weep, it goes up. All right, so it's the frequency of the sound. So it plays with this little, the few things that it plays with is the frequency, the hertz, and the timing. So later on you will see the games, you understand what I mean. All right, so it's really more of at the sound level, all right, that you are able to process. So it comes under processing, all right, process not just the duration, but the hertz, the frequency of each of the sound that's presented as well. All right, so tone kind of lies there. All right, so at the core, fast forward, you will see that especially at the core programs, the literacy, the language, or the foundation program, they work very heavily on the MAPS, all right, the memory, attention, processing, speed, and sequencing. However, these features are also carried out when you get into the reading programs. But by the time you get into the reading programs, then you are working more on phonics, more on the words, the fluency, you know, at the word level, vocabulary, and actual text comprehension. So that's when the reading comes out. So it works together, all right? It keeps remembering the core, the way the games are presented are always working on your memory, your attention, and all that. But at the very foundational programs, it stresses heavier on that, all right? Whereas the reading programs stresses heavier on the word reading, the text level. All right, so this is how it tackles the entire spectrum of reading.
So sorry, you said the foundation level stresses on what? The processing rate or the sequencing?
The processing, all of it in the middle, all of the form, all of the maps, okay? Whereas the reading focuses on more of the text of reading, all right? The visual, as you say, the component, the visual reading, all right? Where it's the actual, the words that are presented in sentences and text form. Okay, now this is another good study, and this one look at children who are struggling with reading. All right, and in the group, I think there were also kids who were diagnosed with dyslexia. So they actually, this was independently done by Stanford researchers. All right, they were quite intrigued because I mean, Dr. Paula Talal and Dr. Michael Merzik, they are pretty well-known researchers, so they attract a lot of attention from the other fellow neuroscientists. So this particular study scanned the brains of average readers, just typical readers, and also scanned the brains of weak readers. And some of them were dyslexic kids who had been diagnosed with dyslexia. And they found that the brain pattern was quite different. And in the kids with dyslexia, many areas were actually not activated. So you can see that the brain, the red areas were not very active compared to the average readers. And then they took these weak readers, these dyslexic kids, and gave them about 4 months, 3 to 4 months of intense fast forward training. I think this was like daily fast forward training at that time. So very intense. And then they actually scanned the brains of the children afterwards. And they found that these areas that were essential for reading were a lot more activated. So the brains became a lot more normalized, and it also correlated with reading scores improving. So this was reported in the journal of one of the prestigious journal, Proceedings of the Natural Annals of Science, or I think, 203. So there's an article that's
the article name is "The Brain Process Are More Normalized." What's the name of the article?
I can send you the article.
Yeah, please, yes.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to this particular article. Mm-hmm. And then there are a lot of the research page I gave to you actually has a lot of school studies and this, and all the scientific studies as well. I will highlight some of, that are better, like the Stanford one. This one was also quite good because this one was conducted in the US, but this is more school, so it might not be as relevant, but it does show that if fast forward when it was added into the school curriculum, and because fast forward is largely sold through the schools in the US, right? And they found that it was able to, because in St. Mary Parish District in Louisiana, it was actually a low performing school. So you can see 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, it was always performing under state average, which is the red line. And this was looking at grade 4 students, language arts, so English, yeah. So they found that in 2006, fast forward became introduced into St. Mary Parish District, the core curriculum. And you find that by 2007, 2008, it was actually surpassing state average, and then it continues to move up. All right, so this is a long-term study that really showed that there is an impact on academic learning as well, because here they were just looking at English results in the school, all right, and comparing, and it was long, so it was good, all right, so really looking at large groups of kids as well. And this was another study that I quite like to talk about because there's so many studies, but this one looked at what happened after you stop training. All right, because one common question is that, is it like going to the gym? If you stop training, will you regress? All right. So this is quite a typical question that comes, because I talk about the brain being like a muscle. So the next question is, if you stop gymming, you can lose your fitness. So is the brain like that? So this particular study was done in Texas, where you can see that, the group this was the state average for their state. All right. So the green line, the dotted line, and again, this was over about 5-6 years, yeah. And then within this state average, about 500 of the students, you know, at this point where the red graph starts, had fast forward embedded into their curriculum. Now, by the end of the school year, the red line was up. So by the end of the school year that year, they were performing higher than the state average, you know. However, the principal decided to take it out. He wanted to see whether there was regression. But the next year, the blue line continued to go up, still higher than the state average that year. And it went on for the second year where they measured this group of 500 kids, although they didn't have fast forward anymore. And they were still above state average. So the question is, you know, if the brain is like a muscle, why is there no regression? The reality is that the brain is really like the muscle, right? The reason why we regress when we stop going to the gym, but you tend to not see it as much in brain training, is because they both work on the theory of use it or lose it. Now, because our lifestyle is so sedentary nowadays, you know, that's why we have to use our body by going to the gym. Now, if we were farmers, we would not need to go to the gym, you know. Every day we will be out farming, we will be exercising, you know, our body will be fit. But nowadays, in modern time, we are so sedentary, but we are using our brain a lot more. So as long as you go to school, if you have new auditory processing, new attention span, you know, the teachers are making you use it, then you tend not to have regression. All right, and because you are continuously using these new skills. And this research kind of supports that, all right, which is quite nice. And this is actually from the Nevada MOE Department of Education in 2010. The Nevada Department of Education actually commissioned the Leadership and Learning Center, which is a third party, to look at all the programs it was funding into the schools. All right, I wanted to know whether the funding was going to good programs, whether there was actually any change. So this Leadership and Learning Center actually went out and audited all the programs, and actually fast forward came out to be at the top in terms of improving language performance in school. But because this was really looking at English performance, so all the reading programs they were looking at that were being sponsored in different schools, and fast forward actually came up as the highest high gain program, right? It was actually one of the top. So that was quite nice as well. And this is again a third party supporting improvement in academics in reading. Okay, so this is just some of the ground, kind of like research backing it. Now I have to take you through the program, because by the end of this session, I hope that you will feel confident and at least have some readiness to use the program, maybe to start, at least explore, to feel comfortable enough, yeah? So we have to spend some time on that as well. So now just to recap on the programs, so like I have mentioned, you will see these icons. Now again, the fast forward language, language V2, version 2 has been replaced by Foundation 1 already. It's very recent, all right? So I haven't even updated some of these slides, right? So it is really quite recent. And in fact, some of our students are still training on language version 2, and only the new students, we are beginning them on Foundation 1, all right? So we are
the name only, the content not changed.
Correct. The content is not changed. It's only the name only. The games are all the same. The names of the games are all the same, all right? But I think they just wanted to make it more, differentiate it a little bit more, all right? And so they're using, which I think is a good name, all right, Foundation 1. It's just a name change. So, so these are the series. So you will have Foundation 1, and now they call it Foundation 2, all right? In the past, we call it Language and Language to Reading. Okay, so these are the two levels that you will use. So students must enter through Foundation 1, and then when they finish Foundation 1, then you will give them Foundation 2. At the same time, if you have the lawyer come in, all right, or the adult, you will start with literacy. All right, literacy will take like a number of months. This is what I was trying to explain to you. How long will each person take to finish literacy or foundation is really dependent on how fast the brain can, you know, lift more heavier and heavier weights. I will show you some of the progress charts, and you will see that can be quite different. All right, and only after they finish Foundation 1 or Language V2 or literacy do we assign them with the second program. And if they finish Literacy Advanced or Foundation 2, then they are done with the core cognitive programs. All right. So for a child with dyslexia, it could take a year, you know, to finish the 2. All right. For a child who's very good, it could take, the fastest we have gone through a typical child maybe a very quick, and this is training very consistently, maybe 2 months. This is a healthy kid with nothing, you know, no big concerns, all right? Maybe 2 months to finish foundation 1, you know, or literacy, all right? And then beyond that, then you have all the reading programs that are available.
So the fastest one is 2 months?
Yeah, in our experience, is 2 months.
2 months to go through the foundation 1 and 2.
Correct. 2 months to go through a foundation 1, each of the programs.
Oh, 1. And then another 2 months for the
foundation 2, correct.
Okay. And then the slower one is about a year to foundation 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've got autistic kids who have done it for a year and it's not even finished.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really depends. And I will show you the chart, some of these patterns, so you can understand what I mean.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then beyond that, then you get into reading readiness, reading level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, reading level 1 is a little bit different. By the time you are assigning reading, typically you will need a reading test. Now, there is a built-in reading test, okay? So it is optional, all right? But just for curiosity's sake, I think it will be good. Let's say you have the student doing it. You might want to put the student through just to see how it feels like. I mean, you can do it yourself. Later on, after this, you will want to assign yourself. So you do have a demo account, so you can assign yourself or put a demo name, and that's not chargeable. All right, so you do have one account that you can play with a little bit, to explore a little bit. So you will want to assign a reading progress indicator, which is the test for yourself, just to see how it works. Because this is actually a reading test, not a memory or cognitive skill test. So it actually goes through vocabulary questions, comprehension questions, phonics questions, and it gives you a reading score. So it will tell you that you are a grade 5 student, you are only reading at grade 2 level, for example. Now, if we see something like that, we then typically will assign the reading programs based on the reading score. For example, if you are reading at grade 2 level, then reading level 2 equivalent will be relevant for you. All right, so you don't go through reading readiness, reading level 1, reading level 2, because it might be too easy for the child. All right, so the reading levels are placed based on the level of English standard. All right, but by reading 5 is already quite sophisticated. It's kind of like grade 5, grade 6 equivalent, which is kind of where a lot of the prefix, suffix, all the foundations of it is embedded. And you find that even the older people, like an adult working on it, you will have to think quite hard, you know, as you're answering the question. So it does become quite complex, even though it's only at level 5. It is quite a hard level.
So we have to get people finish the foundation or the literacy to go through a test. And then the test result will tell us where to put the person to start with, right?
Correct.
So if they say they will give you, you're at the grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 level. So if they say grade 5, means that you will start with grade 5?
Yeah, if it is grade 5, but it really, I mean, depends. I have a placement chart as well to give you some ideas, all right, of how to place, all right, just to know that grade 5 is really quite hard. I rarely place people immediately on grade 5, even if they are grade 5 and above. I mean, unless they are really like typical students, right, or much older students and adult, you know, then I might give grade 5 straight away. But if you are a student, if you are a grade 7 student, right, and you are struggling and it shows grade 5, I might go with grade 4. Grade 4 and 5 are the hardest. Grade 1, 2, 3, reading level 1, 2, 3 are kind of still building the foundation. 4 and 5 is certainly at another leap, all right? It becomes, more sophisticated. So I might then enter at grade 4. But you are right, you won't be wrong to put him at grade 5. But you might find the student saying that, oh, this is quite hard, all right? And then at that point, you could say, okay, then let me level down a little bit so that you have an easier time, working up. All right, but you won't be wrong, and it's just that, the student will say that, oh, this is taking a lot of effort for me to do that. And then you just want to make the process a little bit smoother, and then you might give just a little bit lower and then work up from there. All right, so it's just little of these tweaks, but what we know is that 4 and the incremental difference between 3 and 4 is quite high. All right, where 4 becomes a lot more tedious. Okay, whereas 1, 2, 3 is still kind of like, it's kind of okay. 4 and 5 is a little bit more heavy work.
You said the incremental level between the 3 and 4 is very...
It's higher, correct. Between 3 and 4 is higher, correct.
How about the 4 and 5?
4 and 5, they all belong to the same category of hard already.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, but 5, it will be the hardest.
Okay.
Okay, so are you quite clear so far with the placement?
Yeah, yeah.
So I believe that for your clients, right, you really will always enter at Foundation 1 or Language V2 or Literacy.
Oh, Language V2? Because do the adult have to go through the Literacy 1 first and then Literacy 2?
Yes, so they will do
For older clients?
They will see, yeah, so for the older clients, Literacy, then Literacy Advanced. All right.
Always start with the third, Literacy.
Yeah, no. So there's only 2 levels. All right. Remember that Foundation is the same as Language V2. All right. See, I'm just using the terms interchangeably. All right. But so there's the entry for, I would say, maybe grade 5 by about, in Hong Kong, I would say, yeah, maybe 10 and below, you will typically think about using Foundation 1. For above 10, like 11 and above, you would want to think about using Literacy. Okay. However, right, because you're in Hong Kong, this is quite standard in Singapore. I don't know the English level in Hong Kong. If you have an 11-year-old, 12-year-old that has a significant language issue, a significant English weakness, you might still want to put them on Foundation 1, because you will see that 5 of the games are okay, but there are two or three language games, and in Literacy, the language is harder. So unless the kid, so it really depends on the grasp of language as well. All right. So you might be a little bit more lenient in putting that borderline kids, like grade 11, 11 years old, 12 years old, that 2 age bands. All right. So very occasionally we still start them on the baby program. But if they have an ego problem and they don't want to be working on a baby program, all right, where they have some of those attitude problems and they think they're fine, then they might complain with the graphics. Okay, just be mindful of that transition age.
Yeah, because in Hong Kong, the English training is not as
good, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure the age 10 above using Literacy. Not sure if they would be suitable.
Yeah.
Apart from this, do you have other ways to test them, or you don't? You have to just estimate.
I would use, okay, in Indonesia, for example, all right, where English is not the first language, although kids do go to international schools and get English, all right, we actually typically will assign the foundation. But you see, our issue is actually the foundation level is fine. It is only the graphics. You know what I mean?
I see. So it doesn't really matter so much.
Yes, but because as you go into that group of kids where they are, having a bit of behavioral issues, they are kind of like trying to get the identity. Sometimes they complain like, why is the mom making them do something like a baby game? So that is an issue, you know what I mean? Yeah, so actually the content is nothing wrong. You can always use Foundation 1, but it is only the graphics that problem.
Yeah. Can you speak a bit closer to the mic? Yeah.
Then Literacy becomes a better program because of the graphics for those kids.
Okay, so probably I would say because if they are a bit older, you just start with Literacy because they are actually the same.
Yeah.
Actually the same.
Yeah.
Unless there's some wording too difficult, we can. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now this one is not working anymore. All right, I think we're not able to find the version that works. But essentially, I have to show you what happens, right? So you will hear sounds like ba, da, games that are played like that, just at the sound level. And they're only playing with ba and da, all right? And you will find that ba, okay, now this is what fast forward does. What do we mean by acoustically modified speech, right? So if you look at ba, B is actually very short. So all the consonants are very short. So the ba sound is actually 250 milliseconds long, which is quite long. But most of the length go into the ah. Vowels are very long. All right. And likewise for da, The D is 40 milliseconds, but the ah is the part that is, that's long. So what fast forward does, it manipulates these very short sounds a lot. So they could stretch using technology, stretch B and D such that it becomes 80 or 100 or 150 milliseconds to start with. Now, when you hear it, it becomes very robotic, and later we will experience that. It becomes like like a slurred speech. So a lot of people will ask you, why is it slurring? Why is the computer not accurate? All right, they would think that it's an error. All right, you would have to tell them, no, it's a deliberate feature. It is acoustically modified. All right, but they will tell you, why is it so difficult to hear, and you will tell them that if you have a healthy auditory system, you will have no problem hearing it when it is different. All right, but when there is weaknesses, you will find that it is quite strange and difficult for you to understand. All right, but it is in the process of trying to listen in and understand that your brain, the auditory muscles are being built up. Okay, so you will get questions like that, which is why it's important to be able to answer.
You can hear it? No, you can't hear it like this one.
You can, but I'll hear you. You'll hear it in the game, all right? And now I will also be giving you a bunch of the documents, all right? So there's many documents in the resource folder, but I'm just pulling out some of the common ones that we use, all right? So it's easier for you. So there is a scope and sequence chart that explain every game. It tells you how the game is played, what are you supposed to do. So for example, Sky Gym, all right? You are supposed to identify a sequence of sound sweep. Sweep will be like the whip, whoop, like that. Later on, I'll bring you to the game. And you're supposed to identify and then click the corresponding buttons up or down. So what are the cognitive skills it developed? Working memory, visual symbol sound association from long-term memory, sustained focus, and then the targeted language skills. Sky Gym, I will just summarize for you. Sky Gym is really very useful for language processing. The tones, all right? It is a game. If you have Han Yu Pin, you have a tone problem, Sky Gym will be difficult. Kids with autism, Sky Gym is the constant area of difficulty. It's actually very simple. If you have no issues, you will find that it's such a simple game. You don't even need to think. You just need to listen to the tones, right? But the kids who have auditory processing, you find that they find this quite difficult.
So suitable for kids with auditory processing problem.
Correct. And tonal problems, all right, tone issues in language, like if your Cantonese tones are having an issue and all that, that game, I mean, the game will work on all these, all right? So you don't have to choose games or anything. It comes together in a cluster. In fact, we can't choose games. But you need to know, because when you interpret the report, it gives you clues as where are the issues of challenges, you see, and makes it easier for you to explain to parents. All right, but the program is actually fine-tuning. So it's actually very easy for the provider, but you need to be able to interpret and explain. So a lot of the job is really trying to explain to the client, why are we doing this? What is it actually doing? Rather than actually intervening, because the program is helping us to do that. All right, but you need to be able to understand what the games are. Moon Ranch, it's hard to remember now, but I'll walk you through. But basically, each game will have a different focus. Moon Ranch works a lot on sustained attention. All right, it's heavy on attention because you really have to listen in to the sounds because it continuously is presented. Then Hoop Nut is a sound game, but it is more phonological sounds. So if you have dyslexia, you tend to see Hoop Nut might be weak. If you tend to have ADHD, you tend to see Moon Ranch might be weak. All right, because it has different emphasis, you see. The way the game is designed for Moon Ranch, it makes you have to pay attention continuously. All right, so the kids who are weak there, you find that the scores tend to be slower to progress.
So the Hoop Hut is weak for what?
Dyslexia, phonological sounds.
Dyslexia.
Reading sound pairs. Okay, so Sky Gym is oral language weakness. All right, if you have a weakness in oral language, you have to look at Sky Gym. Moon Ranch is where you have to look for kids with attention issues, or a weak score would suggest that attention particularly might be difficult. Sustained attention. Hoop Nut is dyslexia, reading phonological sound pairs. All right. And then Walian Match, all right, the first at the top, relates to memory. All right, where the child might have a weakness in memory. RoboDog is vocabulary. Now, up until now, all the games I have mentioned are only sounds. There is not even English involved. Okay, you don't even need to understand English to play those games. But by the time you get to RoboDog, RoboDog is a vocabulary game. So you need to have some English by the time you get to RoboDog, because it will show you pictures, it will say a word, and you have to identify what the word is. Okay, so you have to click on the picture based on the word. So it's a vocabulary is involved. Alibot is where grammatical English structures become involved. So you have to understand English. For example, it might tell you the clown is pulling the girl. All right, or the clown is pushing. So you will have, you know, the girl in front, girl behind. So you have to understand pulling means, you know, you're kind of in front. All right, you are dragging something along. All right, so there's grammatical structures.
Grammatical structure.
English conventions. All right, like plural, singular. You need to. The games will target more the English language. And Space Commander is the ability to follow directions, like click the blue circle, then the large red square. All right, so you have to follow the directions of the set of you know, of what to do with all the shapes that you are seeing in front of you. All right, we will go through each of them. Yeah, right here. All right, I will show you so that you can have a better recall. So this is SkyGym, improve speech and language processing. This is how the game is played. So you click on the button. Now this is high level already, yeah. Whoop, whoop. Okay, this is the hard level already. I should give you an easy level. Whip, whip is up, up. Whip, whoop, up, down. Beep boop. Okay.
So I don't understand what is it supposed to do?
Okay, you know, at this point, I might. Can you still see my screen? You can, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to actually go into the game, and I'm going to show you. I'm actually going to show you the game live. Okay, I'll just use my daughter's account. Okay, now this is when you log in, okay? And I'll show you this interface first. Now this is important when you log in. Okay, I'll come back again, I'll log out. So since we are doing this, so what happened is that—
I don't see it.
Can you see it now?
No, I don't see the slide only, the PowerPoint.
So you do not see my— okay, I see. Okay, let me share again. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay, now this is where I'm moving away a little bit, since I'm going to show you the actual game. All right. So this is where the student will log in. Okay, so there are two different platforms. One is for you to log in to manage the kids and see the reports. This is where the student log in. All right. So when you are logging in for the very first time, it will ask you for your school name, you know, your school or district name. All right. If you say this is not my school, then you will be able to choose your school. So I believe you should already have. Okay. No, it's connection, right? Yeah, there we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can just choose that. Okay, for the very first time. The moment the computer remembers this, then you don't have to do it again. Okay, so I'm just going to go, instead of here, I'm going to go back to my— so this is me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just going to use my daughter. So you basically will set up the username and password for the students. All right. So once they go in, then these are the different things that you will see. So my daughter is working on language version 2 and language to reading version 2. Okay, so she's kind of like on these programs. Don't worry about reading assistant. That's just me giving her additional reading practice. But this demo is a useful button. If you come to demo, you can actually see all the games. Okay. Okay, you can actually see here. So here's Foundation 1, all right, Sky Gym, all right. You can actually see a tutorial. So if you forget, you just have to come here, or you can even play the tutorial for the client. All right, so the first session could be sitting with them, playing the tutorial, right? So oh, unfortunately, we can't hear, yeah? We can't hear the sounds from this. Okay, this is not helpful. I will have to go back to the screen to show you because it doesn't seem to be picking up the sound from this.
Because you can speak to it, then they should pick up a sound.
Yeah, but no, I wanted to show you the sound from my screen. You know what I mean? It's not. I can, let me see if I'm able to tweak anything. No, I'm not able to tweak anything.
They should. Okay. If you show me a video, I should hear the video.
Yeah. But the video is basically you have to click go and it will have a sound. Weep, whoop, or whoop, weep. And you have to see weep is the uptone, whoop is the downtone. So it will begin with very slow. It will be literally like weep, whoop. Then you will go just click weep or whoop. In fact, it might just start with one tone, weep. And then you just click weep. Down, you just click down. Okay, so this is how, but you can come to demo. Please do come in here to look at, please do come here in order to play with the demos, to look at how the games are played. All right, this demo button is available. All right, when you're showing clients or what to do. In fact, all the games are here. So you can actually come in here. You can want to see literacy. You can see how the early level of the game is, the late level of the game is. You can see the tutorial. All right, so this is where the demo button is quite useful, especially when you are starting. All right, so that you can have a play of and look at all of that. Okay, but right now I am going to log out and I'm going to share screen back to my screen. Okay, so here is the video, all right, but this is already at a high level, which is why it's very difficult for you to hear, you see, all right? So,
which sign is supposed to, if we're supposed to say it's high or low, right?
Yeah, is, okay. Whoop, whoop. So it's hard for you to hear.
I can hear.
Yeah, whoop, whoop. Whip, whip. Okay, so there were two whip tones. Whip, whoop. But it's very, very fast. Whip, whoop. Okay, so it goes like up, down, all right? Whoop, whoop, down. Okay, whoop, whip. Yeah, okay, so it's going very, very rapidly in terms of
Congratulations, you are 10% of the way through. Every time you finish another 10%, another light on the progress meter will light up.
Okay. So this is how this Sky Gym will look like. All right. Now the next game is actually Walian Match. Walian Match is something that works on memory. All right, because it's like a memory game. All right, where you are kind of like, it's like the visual memory game card. You know, where you kind of opening and matching pairs. Now this is matching sound pairs. So if you listen.
Cap, bag, back, cap, cap, cap.
So you have to match.
Cap, cap, back, back, bag, bag.
Okay, and so the question will be, why is it sounding so funny, right? Like bag, you know, it's like not normal sound. So you get a lot of questions like, why is it happening? So you have to tell them that it is because the scientists have played with the frequency, you know, the timing, they've modified it. That's why, but it is the modification that makes this powerful. Okay, so you have to be able to explain to them why this is happening. Now, this is Moon Ranch. Moon Ranch is really more for sustained attention and listening accuracy. So you have to keep listening, and then you click the pig, the animal, when the sound changes.
Shoo, 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 shoo,
All right, shoo, 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 shoo.
shoo,
It became
shoo,
choo, then you
shoo,
click
shoo, shoo, shoo,
choo. There was a change, all right? Might be a bit hard for you to hear.
shoo, 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 shoo.
Yeah. So every time you hear it change, then you press it. So they have to be, because this is something you have to pay attention all the time, you see. So the kids who are very inattentive find this game quite hard. All right, that they are not able to either pick up, or they're just not paying attention all the time, so they miss it, you see. So there are many errors. All right, so this moon ranch work a little bit more on sustained attention. So this is the one, Space Commander is about the ability to follow instructions.
Touch the yellow square. Touch the red square.
Yeah, all right. So you can see there's two things. It's making you follow instructions, all right? Touch the yellow square, touch the red square. But that's the instructions that you're hearing is also acoustically modified, all right? Which is why the woman saying touch the red square, that is sounding a bit slurred as well. And as the game progresses, it will become harder. It might be touch the large blue square and the small red circle, all right? So it becomes harder and harder as you progress through the levels. All right, now this is Ellie Bot, where it is more grammar, English structures.
What is the cat chasing?
So what is the cat chasing? It's chasing
Who is the girl pulling?
Who is the girl pulling? The clown. All right, so the girl is
Choose the picture of the balloons.
Balloons. Okay. So it is more English is starting to come, all right? Whereas in the first few games, there's actually no English. Yeah, all right. So these are some of the samples of the games, all right? The more important ones I've explained to you, but please go and familiarize yourself with the demo and look at all the games again, all right? So that you are familiar. Now, at the end of the daily session, now this is what you have to know. When you log in a child, you don't have to assign the games. The games are to be played for that day. The computer will decide and the kids will see it. All right. And at the end of playing all the games, they can see this points chart. Okay. So this is just a quick snapshot for them, you know, in terms of their progression. We actually look at more sophisticated reports. The points are just an indicator. So we don't really look at the points to decide on progress, right? But the participant can do that. And if you click on any of these tabs at the side, for example, you click on the Moon Ranch tab, it actually shows you what are all the sound pairs that they are working on. For example, kick, 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 gi, all right? Or gi, 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 kick, or shoo and chew, or stick and sick. And they show you how you are progressing. So as you are progressing, you know, your bar start to fill up. So the person can have an immediate understanding idea of what is being worked on and how their progress has been. All right, so this is on the user's screen. After every session, this screen comes up.
So they can see it themselves.
Correct. But we have more sophisticated reports though. All right, this is just to show, you know, the learner, you know, at a very elementary level, what are some of these progressions. But our reports are a lot more sophisticated. Okay, so far, all right. So that's just foundation one. So as you can see, we won't go through every single game, all right. I think it is more important that when you are trying to play someone, so you know, you just experience it a bit by going into demo and have a rough play of all the games. I will send out the scope and sequence so that you understand how to play each game and what each of the game is for, the target areas. I think that's important for your explanation and all right. Now, the administration portal is important. Now, at this point, can I, are you on the laptop?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get an email from Scientific Learning? Because I sent I set you up as a school manager of a portal, because I would like you to actually do this together with me on your computer.
From Fast Forward?
Yes, correct. Scientific learning or fast forward, it should ask you to, there should be an email that is asking you to set up your password.
No, I haven't received it yet.
I sent it to the email psychology at
Yeah. So if I look for fast forward, I did not see anything.
how about scientific learning? Can you also check your spam? Sometimes it goes into spam.
There's a thing called My Science, My Sound Learning.
Yes. That's
Oh, okay, that's the one. Okay. Yeah, they come today, this morning.
Yes, correct. Because I set you up this morning. The organization site just got set up yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, can you follow the link? Can you set up your password?
To create this password.
Because I need you to I think hands-on will be easier for you.
Fast forward. Just wait a second. Look over. 等先啊，等先啊。所有都係啊 ，OK。我睇先。我睇先，即係我幾個 account 都係啦，係啦。等先啊。underscore。好，唔該晒。Yeah, I got in already.
Okay, so you have.
But they said has to have one uppercase and one lowercase and one number. I think I have only the. So let me see. I have to change. So the email should be under connection. That's a psychology, right?
Yes, I use that. Unless you want me to use another email, I could also.
I think.
Or if this is okay, then that's fine. Otherwise, I can set up another email for you.
I think it should be okay. Wait a minute. Okay, got it.
It's okay.
Logged in already. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, okay. Now let's see what. Okay, so.
Do you want me to share the screen with you?
No, I think I'm gonna. Maybe you can look at my screen and then see if you're together with me. So have you passed this screen?
Let me see. Yeah, I passed it already.
Passed it already. So do you see this?
Manage student.
Are you on this screen? Home manage results.
No, I'm on this screen.
Okay, maybe
The one that is saying that
share with me.
I'm on the screen.
You can share with me.
I share with you. Yeah.
You share with me. Okay, good. This is good. Yeah. So this is good. Okay. So can you click on manage?
Manage.
Yes. At the top.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Now you will click on a new student. Okay, why don't you just do a demo student? Maybe you can just put Catherine first or whatever. You know?
So then I just put demo student, so I should put demo.
Demo, correct? So all the asterisk fields are compulsory, okay? So you have to put in last name. You have to put in last name as well. Yep, okay. You have to put in anything. Now, just to let you know, date of birth is only for them to capture information. It doesn't really change the scores or anything. Okay, but so you can just put in, if you have the information, you put in something. If not, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
And then?
Okay, now then you have to check, you have to key in the username and the login that you will use for your password. So you might want to use a demo or something, or demo. Yeah.
Demo, and then the password is demo.
Yeah, you try. Because I'm not sure if it's too short though. 5 characters. It must be at least 5 characters.
Oh.
Maybe demo 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
Oh, demo 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but you have to remember, okay? You have to remember this. So demo 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and okay, you can select the grade level.
Okay. So I should put them. And what is this called? This is called the student demo password. Okay.
Yeah, demo password.
Okay.
Grade level. Yeah, so you can then select your grade level, gender, English. Now this is important, right? If okay, this is not that important. It depends on whether you are manually or if you assign.
I can't hear you very well. Yeah.
Yeah. If you assign, can you hear me?
Yes, better now.
Yeah. If you assign yes or no for English language learner. Now, when you assign the products, there are 2 ways to ask you whether you want.
Can you speak forward a little bit? It's very
soft, is it?
Louder, yeah, soft.
Is it better?
You just need to move forward, it's better.
Yeah, okay. So if you are keying in yes or no for English language learner and special education, depending on what you key in, and if you say you want to automatically have the computer assign the games, it will affect the assignment. So there's 2 ways that you can say. You say, I want to manually assign. That means you decide. You only want to use Foundation 1, for example. Most of the time in Singapore, we do manual assignment. We don't have the computer auto assign for us. So if you don't do auto assign, it does not matter what you put here, whether it's special ed or not special ed, right? But if you key in the information and you choose auto assign, then it will assign based on this information. Okay, it will assign based on the grade level and whether it is an ELL or special education student. So these are the few factors. So the grade, rather than the birthday, the grade is important, yeah? So based on the grade level, instead of the birthday, and whether it's ELL or special education, it will then auto assign. However, if you are not using auto assignment, then these do not matter.
Why do you not use the auto assignment?
Because because we have regular kids that come in, we have regular kids that come into BrainFit. So when if you want to use auto assignment, you must complete the reading progress indicator test. So some of the children come in with auditory processing problem, but they have no reading problem. So they will end up with a very high score in reading score, and the program will automatically place them, say, in reading level 3. Because it is perceived that remember, this is a reading-based program, right? So then it will put you at reading level 3. However, the child is actually having auditory processing problems. So by default, we actually always put our children through the cognitive programs of Foundation 1 and Literacy. This is what happens at our center. Because the auto-assign, because the test is based on reading itself, you see, it is not based on cognitive skills and auditory processing. So it can make it seem like the child is a good reader, therefore there's no issues with auditory processing, which is not true.
So test is based on what?
The test is based on reading.
Reading. So
Yeah.
visual
Yeah.
ability.
So if you have a person like your friend, right? Like the guy, you know, the client, sorry, that you have, the adult that is getting quite lost in meetings where he's having difficulty following the discussions. Now, he might not have a problem with reading. So if he does the RPI, he could be placed in a reading program, and a high level reading program based on his reading scores, because the test doesn't actually measure auditory processing. Okay, so because this is the test was built for the schools in the US, right? And they were of course funded for reading. So everything was built around reading, you see, although the program works on auditory processing, which is why we do not use auto assign. We typically use manual assignment, all right? And we always put them through the language products.
But, so in terms of the English speaking or not English speaking, in Hong Kong, I'm not sure how would we should be classified.
I think if you have a native Hong Kong person, unless you have a native Hong Kong speaker, I think you should put it as ELL, English Language Learner. That means it should be a yes. That means English is second language.
Yeah, second language should be a yes.
Correct. Second language is a yes.
So what kind of...
That means it is learning English as a second language. That's why they put English Language Learner.
Oh, no means the person did not learn English.
No means English is a native language. In the US, this is what it means.
Oh, learner means you have to learn.
Yes.
Not native. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Not native.
Okay.
So in Hong Kong, in Indonesia, in all the other countries, the English is not the first language. We will have to put yes, is an ELL student.
But for Singapore, it's no?
Yes, in Singapore, we use no because English is our first language, you see.
But a lot of people speaking Chinese at home.
Yeah, but English is our yeah, unless it is in those homes, but we find that most of the kids that come to us, the Chinese is the problem, not English.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so special education, if there's a diagnosis, then you put yes. If there's no diagnosis, then you put no. If you're not sure, you can just leave it as no. Okay, so now in terms of the school staff and group, you don't have to worry about it. Usually we use those when it's large schools, like, you know, 500 kids, and you have to organize them by their classes and which teachers. So usually if you are the one that's the private providers, typically don't have to worry about all these other fields. Okay, then now race and all that, you don't have to worry. Now you just save. Now, so right now, your student has already been set up. Okay, so the next thing you have to fill in is manual or auto assignment. Yeah, auto assign and reading progress indicator. So you can see here, now use RPI is where you want to use the assessment. Okay, if you click use RPI assessment, as soon as the student log in, the first thing they will see is the reading test. You can choose do not use RPI, but since this is a demo student, I suggest that you use RPI just to have an experience of what it feels like.
So this is the assessment, right?
Correct. RPI is the assessment.
Okay. So use, and then?
Okay, you see here is when you decide, is it auto, is it manual? Yeah, you'll choose manual. Reading assistant, you're not using it, you just always choose manual. Okay, so here it means that when you log in, you will see RPI, but you will not use the RPI results to auto assign fast forward for you. So very good. Okay, now after that, you will go to assignment.
Okay.
Okay, at the top, good, new assignment, good. Select a fast forward product. So you will want to choose Read Foundations 1. Now here is where you have to decide, are you going to use, usually we use a 3-day protocol. Okay, so you have 2 options, but it does not matter, okay? Even if you choose 3-day protocol, you can still train for 5 days. It does not matter. All right, it's just the data when it's reporting, it will tell you that yes, you are doing 3 days, it will give you 100%. All right, so the default protocol is 30 minutes. You can also make each session longer if you want, but I don't think it's a good idea. I think it should all be 30 minutes nowadays. All right, and then the introduction is English. Okay, then you can, because unless you have Spanish speaking people, then there's Spanish introduction as well. Okay.
And the 3 days, what's the meaning of the 3 days? You said
the 3 days doesn't mean anything. It means that when because they will report whether the child is participating frequently enough, you see. So if you choose 3 days and you are training 3 days, it will show 100% participation. All right, it means that you are fulfilling all your criteria. If you choose 5 days, but you are only training 3 days, then it will show that you are only clocking in 60%. Your participation is only 60%.
it means
Yeah.
a week, once a week, right?
Yeah. It's only the data that it is used for analyzing. Okay, so it doesn't really matter.
But if they train more than 3 days, they will show more, right?
Yes, and it's fine. It will just show 100% and that you're training more than 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so typically we put it at 3 days,
Okay.
30 minutes. Okay, so once you are up till here, you are already set. Okay, however, I'm going to ask you to go and edit your grade level because you have put yourself at grade 12. Now, grade 12, the reading test is very, very, very long. So I will not want you to go through that. I will ask you to put it at a grade 1 level actually. Then you will see a short English test, all right? So there are different test papers depending on the grade level. I just want you to...
The student, if the person coming is an adult, then what grade level they should put?
Typically, if it is an... Okay, in Singapore, we don't usually assign RPI at the beginning. We will say, no, I don't even want to use RPI. Typically in Singapore, we only choose RPI after they have finished all the core products, when I want to place them in reading, you see.
After finish the foundation.
Yes, correct. Typically, I will do that. But I also want to tell you, if your parents tell you, oh, Catherine, are you going to do a test? Can we do a test to show that this is working? Okay, if they want to do that, the only test that is built in is the reading test. You can use it. If that is the case, then you will have to do a proper reading test based on the age of the student. Our parents, because we have our own cognitive assessment, you see, so the parents don't really ask us, don't bother us too much in terms of an assessment. But if you do need a concrete assessment to show that whether fast forward, even at the cognitive programs, whether it has worked, then yes, you might need to assign RPI, and you will have to assign according to the grade level. Otherwise, it will be inaccurate. The only reason why I'm asking you to change is because You can do it as an adult. If you really want to experience what an adult will be like, then yes, please do set it at grade 12. You will see a grade 12, an adult assessment, because if you find that you are going to have a few clients of that level, then you might want to do that. But remember, this is a reading test, okay? So in the case of that client whose main complaint is that he's not able to follow the conversations in the meeting, this reading test is not very suitable. You know, because it's not an issue with reading. All right, so this is right now, fast forward, scientific learning is very aware of the problem. So they are looking at building a better assessment that also look at the cognitive aspect. Right now, we only have the reading test. So you have to be very sensitive to what the parent or the client is wanting. If the parent is saying that I really need a test of some sort, and the concern is reading or English, then yes, you can assign the grade level and let the child do an RPI at the start. Even after the cognitive products, you can already do a post-test before you even start the reading products, because we believe that just completing the cognitive products, your reading score will already make a difference. So you can already show results there. But remember, this is a reading test, not a cognitive test. That's the issue. When a client comes in because of cognitive issues and not because of reading issues, then this particular test might not be as relevant.
I understand. So can I do a grade 1 and then later change it to grade 12 so I can see both?
No, because the test is only one time for each student.
So I won't be able to see the different age group, the tests.
Okay, I tell you what, you can set up another demo student, and then you set up that student as grade 12 and you run the RPI, but please do not assign any programs onto that one, because we are charged with the programs that we assign.
Oh, if you no assigned program, so no charge. You can see the result, right?
Yes, you can still use the assessment without a charge.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, okay, so yes, you can. So you assign yourself as a second demo, and then you can assign at a higher grade level, and then you can go through the reading test. But
okay,
it's quite long. I have to warn you, it will take about 15 minutes, that one. Quite
okay,
tedious.
so right now just say grade 1 first.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So you save. So once you are at this stage, you are already set up for the student. So that's all you have to do, okay? In terms of enrolling a student. So you just have to remember, you have to set up the news. Now, if now you have a new student, what will you do? So you click back to students, right at the top, back to students. No, yeah. So this is the screen you will typically see when you come in now that you have one student. So if you have a new student, you can now go and click on the new student at the top. All right, so this is the overview of all your students. And then you will come back to this screen. Okay, so you're back here again, which is the same as what we did just now. All right, so you can go back. We will not fill in. So let's go back.
What's the migrant student? What does that mean?
That is for the US. You don't have to worry about that.
Title?
Title 1 is also for the US. We don't use it outside of the US.
Oh, so
Race,
just
you can ignore all of that. Can you scroll back up to the top? Yeah, all right. So we're back to there, and you go back to the student page. So this is the page that we were at just now.
go backwards.
Yeah. So you
cancel?
No. You just go back. You just scroll right up to the top. Scroll right up to the top. Yeah, you can go back as well. Yeah, I want to come back to this screen. Okay, so this is the overview. Every time you see a student, you want to enroll a new student, you want to manage the assignment, you want to change the program. Let's say I have finished Foundation 1, I want to give them Foundation 2. This is the screen where you come to manage all the programs. Are you quite confident right now?
I have one student now enrolled, so I have to set up the student now.
Okay, I can run you through. Why don't you set up that real student right now? Okay, if you
let me
name and all that, yeah, let's do that.
I'm just gonna run to bathroom too, so it may take a little longer.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, I'm back.
You don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Then the student username. I should just put his first name.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's easy.
And the password. Shall I just put his name as password? It's easy.
Oh, you use the last name? Yeah, you can try just using the last name as password.
Great. He is let's see. He's age 12. So I think he's in grade.
Grade 6.
Huh?
Grade 6. Age 12 in Singapore will be primary 6.
Yeah, I think it's grade 6. So I should put grade 6. Yeah. Oh, did I get hang up here? Okay. 6.
No, you haven't put in the grade yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, get off the screen.
I think you have to maybe just click on the field, like the upper, that one of the password field, is it? I think that's creating the problem.
Sorry, cannot hear you.
Yeah, can you click on the password field? Okay, hold on. What happened?
View.
Yeah, but how come you are having those screens, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder
Um,
how you're going to get rid of that. Can you scroll? Is it still there when you scroll? Okay, try and fill in your student password again. I'm wondering if it's from that field.
this one?
Yeah, can if you fill it in, will it go away? Oh, it's still there, huh?
Yeah.
What browser are you using?
Safari.
We are using Safari, is it? Safari should be okay, but sometimes when I have run into problems, because I use a Safari as well, then I will use Chrome, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
If it starts to give me funny things, sometimes I go and use Chrome. But I tell you what, we just kind of like redo this a little bit. Can you go up to the top and then come out of the page, like go back to the student tab, and then we'll redo it one more time?
Okay, just like this.
Yeah. Or you just click on the student tab.
Student tab.
Yeah. Can you scroll up? Scroll up.
No.
Are you frozen? Are you?
Frozen. I'm frozen.
Oh, you're frozen. I see.
Just have to. Let me see if I can. Pause quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, let's do that again. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Mm.
Let me get a pair of headsets if I can find.
Yeah, it's not very quick. I have to, I think I will just have to go.
Can you do it?
I think I have to, this is frozen again. I think I have to
Yeah, maybe we. Is it? Could it be the problem?
yeah, Safari. Yeah, not because, yeah. Let me use the Chrome.
Yeah. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, this is,
Okay.
so should I just, so do I just type in again the website or?
Yes, you do scilearn.com/learner. SCILEARN. No, yeah, a student login. You can go. Can you see student login?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just choose student login. Yeah.
So
You
I should
you
go.
you click on the image. No, you scroll down. You scroll down. Yeah, this one.
Okay. So it should be my
Connection. No, CO connection. Yep. Yeah, you can just choose it. You only have to do this once. Okay, this is oh, hang on, we are still at the trainers, right?
yeah, I should be
Okay, sorry, this is the no, this is not okay. You have to go to mysilent.com. I'm so sorry. This is for the student. You open another tab.
Oh, open the tab.
Correct. This is the student login, okay? We can use it later for student login. You open another tab and you use mysilent. Yeah, you click mysilent.com. SCILEARN. Yeah, .com or mysilent. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, just yeah, this is the staff one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is when you use your email and your password. Okay, good. Okay, you go back to manage. Good. Now we're back to this screen. Yep, let's try it again.
This person is I think they are Hindu.
Are they in an international school?
Yeah.
So then you might put no.
English is their first language.
Usually the Indians people that are in Singapore, their English is quite strong. They are quite bilingual. But you can put yes, it doesn't matter. It will not affect anything.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter.
Special education.
Is there a diagnosis?
They have a kind of slow processing speed.
Okay, you could say, is he in special services?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all you need. Come down all the way. Come down, don't worry, and then you save. Yes, good.
Oh, cannot be used.
Oh, I think it might be, maybe it is, earlier on that issue is, I tell you what, never mind. You just put Aditya M. You just add an M at the back of the username. You just have to remember it, all right? So Aditya M, the surname, M, yeah. And then you just save it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
this is all done. Now let's go. Okay, what will you do next? No, stay on this page. Stay on this page. You have to decide on two things: your test and your assignments. So you got to go to auto assign settings first.
okay. Assignment.
Can you see the blue button on called settings?
Oh, setting.
Correct, settings. Yep, settings.
Okay.
Okay. Now, are you going to do an assessment? Is reading a concern for this child?
I think this is, they cannot they have auditory processing problem.
Yeah, but do you think that the child would be okay to do a reading test?
Attention difficulties.
Is there complaints with reading?
Let me see. He's on speech therapy and reading. His reading assessment report is they're reading average.
Average. Okay, I think, you know what? Do you think that the parent would want you to be able to show evidence through any change in an objective kind of measure?
Well, the parents' oldest kid did fast forward in US.
Ah, okay. So they are familiar, right? That's good. Yeah. So let me think if we should have them do an assessment. If they are familiar, you can say, but the child it might complain because he's grade 6, so the test might be quite long. Is he generally quite motivated?
I haven't seen the child. I just see the parent only.
I see. I'm only concerned because it's a long test. So usually the kids, they
do it after they finish the foundation.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it afterwards. Good idea. So do not use. Yep. And then you will do. Yep. So it's all manual assign. So if you choose do not use, that they will have no basis to assign. So the default is only manual. So you just apply it.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Now you go up. You have to choose the programs. Now you do new assignment, correct? Okay, let's choose foundation 1 for him. Okay, he's 12, yeah? We are at the borderline, is either foundation 1 or literacy. We can give him literacy first in case he's got an attitude thing, we don't know. And then choose to 3 days. He can do, by the way, it's up to you to do 5 days or 3 days, okay? if the child has an issue, if he comes from the US, maybe 5 days is better, because in the US, they emphasize frequency, intensity a lot. And it doesn't matter. If you have 5 days, he does 3 days, is also okay. You know, it doesn't really affect anything, right? So you can keep it as default at 5 days as well.
Mhm.
All right, because it doesn't change the program. Okay, then you just click assign. Great, so you are completely set up for this child already. So you just have to remember this step, all right? So, so you go back to the student tab. You go back to the student tab. Good. So all your list of students will continue to build as you add more and more students. So this will be the main screen. Okay, so if you want to edit any of them, say for example, now in demo, let's say you edit your own account, you want to give yourself foundation 2 instead. So what will you do? Yep, you click on it. Good, click on it. Click on, yep, then you come to this screen. So once you're at this screen, you can do anything. You can stop the foundation 1, you can delete it, you can change some of these things. Yeah, you can do any of these things on this page. Change
But
the password.
How to change the foundation 1? I changed the days.
Yeah, okay, so what can you do? You can click on edit and see what happens.
I click already.
You click on edit.
Allow me to change 3 to 5 days.
Okay, then you click on good. Okay, you cancel. Then you click on new assignment. Okay, so once you have already got a new program, the only way is to delete it, and then but you can assign more than one program. So you can assign literacy to yourself as well. So now you have literacy and foundations 1. Say you want to now delete foundations 1, you just click on the dustbin at the end, or yeah, and then it will be gone. Yeah. Okay. Now, if the student has already, if the student has been training and you want to stop them because they haven't paid for the license, and let's say they say, I'm going to take a break for 2 months and I'm going to come back, in order not to be charged, you need to come to this screen and click on the button called suspense. The moment you start to train, the suspend will come up. That means you just suspend the account so they cannot log in because you haven't collected payment from them.
So what's the suspend?
The suspend is not appearing now because you haven't started training. But the moment you start to train, the suspend button will come up. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so here is where you have to come in to try and manage the kid's license.
So for example, because let's say ask them to say, oh, you have to pay for 4 months. So let's say for 4 months.
Yeah.
They stop after the 4 months.
Yeah.
Can I already enter into say only valid for 4 months?
Yeah, unfortunately, this has been a feature we have requested, but they are still working on it. So right now it is not auto. So one of the management thing is to remember, maybe your staff can help you, Nicole can help you or something. You have to tell her that set the start date, when's the end date, by the end date. So we have an Excel sheet in our office. So my staff is assigned to do that. So they know that in every month, you know, like, oh, May, 5 students are ending. I have to come in at this date to suspend it. So that one you have to manage a little bit. They don't have an auto feature yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you are all done. Now, the other thing that will be useful to come here will be when you have some results. But I think we don't do that. What I would suggest is that after this student has started for a while, maybe I have another call with you where we will look into the results tab. Can you see at the top there's results?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now we have no results. Okay, I think the moment where you have some where the kids start to train for a month or 2, then you know, maybe even in a month I can start to have another Zoom call with you to teach you how to interpret.
The parent asked me, they said they used to have able to have a weekly consult to see how the week go. So that was what her experience in US.
I see. Some
so
of the
need to talk to her every week for a little bit just to tell her what's happening.
Okay, in that case, then I think the first week, you want to note down some behavioral observations, but we already, after 3 sessions, I will have a call with you before that session then to see what are the data that we have to be able to make comments on. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's better. All right, so that we are not theoretical, you know, so that we are looking at real data. I think it'll be easier for you. Okay.
So right now, how I can tell her, you know, what to do? They can start doing now.
They can start doing now, all right? So now, if she's very familiar with the program, typically, I am assuming that the parent has no idea. We will ask the kid to come to our center. Then we will go to student login. So this page, you can log out now. So beyond here, but you have to remember, please remember the username and password, yeah? So you have to remember the username and password, you know, so you can log out here. You can go to student login. Correct. So let's assume you are coming in for that child. Can you key in his username and password here? Then you will see exactly what he's seeing.
Okay.
Okay, so you can key in his username and password. M, yep. Yep, so this is exactly what he will see when he comes in. He's already going to start with fast forward literacy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we won't go into his account, but actually you can yeah, you go into demo. Okay, so you will come down. Let's go and look at literacy. Let's come and look at literacy. Okay, come down. Okay, you are looking at literacy. So he will play all these 5 games. So you can go into literacy. Can you click on early levels? Click on early levels.
Oh, have to install Flash.
Oh, yes.
So how to, but I don't have Flash, so how do I?
Your computer doesn't have, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that will be a problem, you know. Do you have an iPad?
No, I don't have an iPad.
Because you do need Flash. Is there any other PCs around that has a Flash?
Do I have to order it or we can just free download?
I think it might be free download, right? Adobe Flash. I'm not sure. I think my computer came with it.
What is this? This is the game?
I cannot see your screen anymore.
Oh, okay. Let me share again.
Yeah, correct. You're in it already. So, okay. So when your student log in, right, when they click, they will see this screen. But if you have set 30 minutes, you typically will see 3 games that is bright. That means the other games that are not bright is not clickable for that day. They don't have to play it.
This one.
No.
One.
So
Only
right now, because we are in demo, you only see 1, you see. If you were going into his account, you will see 3.
Are you ready to amp up your memory? Amp up your memory.
Okay. So you just click on each of the speaker.
Oh.
And you have to match. Good. Yep.
No.
Yep. No. Yep.
Did they match?
No. Once it matched the top one, and then yeah, this one. Okay. It's easier if you have headsets. You will need to use it. It's easier with headsets. So remember that the student must do it with headsets. Okay.
Must do with headset. Why?
Yeah, must do it with headset. Then the sound is close to the ear, so the sound quality and the rewiring of the brain will be better.
Okay. Use headset to play. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So now you can just close, so you know how to play with this game already. We won't worry about it. So this is okay so far, yeah? So that is Lunar Tunes. Let's go to another game. You go to another game and then you share screen on that game. So you just go through each of the games. Yeah, so why don't you try Space Racer? Space Racer early levels, Space Racer early levels. Yep. These are all the sound games. Let's go through the sound games first. Okay, you have to change your share screen again.
Okay.
Yeah.
The speed at which you can understand sounds is important. Understanding the sounds as they get quicker is related to the speed at which you can think. Let's work those neurons.
Okay, so one is a weep and one is a whoop, all right? So you have to click the up or the down tone. It doesn't matter if you make an error, just try. So the weep and the whoop, you click the up arrow, the button on the, yep, you click it. Okay, or you click on the orange button first, sorry, yep. Okay, up, up. Good. Click on the orange button again. Up, down. Good. Orange button again. What was it? Nope, down, down, whoop, whoop. Down, down. Down, up. Yep, good. Up, up. Good. Up, down. Good. Down, up. Good. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now you can close it. Let's go to the next sound game. Go back to the screen again. Okay, why don't you play Galaxy Go? We do the sound games first. Galaxy Go. Yep, early levels. Okay, I think you have to share screen again. Change your screen.
Your brain can understand sounds quicker with practice. Since we think in language made up of sounds, this will also help you think quicker. Go for it!
Okay, so you click on the football.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
When it changes, you click on the football. Okay, so third means you missed it, all right? Get ready.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Click. Two. Can you hear? When it changes, you have to quickly click on the ball.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Click. Miss it again. Okay, you have to click on it fast, yeah?
Sure. 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 Sure.
Click. Oh, not miss it again.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Click. Yeah, good. Okay, you click it as soon as it changes, subtly, very small.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Click. Yeah, you missed it.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Click. Yeah, got it. Again.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So it's much easier if you have headsets, Catherine. All right. Without headsets, it can be quite hard.
Okay.
All right. So you got this game. Now the next one. Go to Spin Master. So these are all the sound games I'm showing you. Yep. Need to change screen again.
Improve your brain speed by recognizing small differences in sound. That's a fine tune. When you can better your brain. Move on, baby.
Okay, click on the orange button. Okay, when you click on the orange button, you heard a sound first. So it's Abba. Then the left side and the right side each has a sound. So you basically have to match the first sound that you hear after you click on the orange button with either the left or the right. So when we click, the first sound that came up was Abba. Then we have left side is Abba, right side is Ada. So you should click on the left side to match. Click on the left disc. Okay, now you pay attention, okay? You click on this and then you hear what is the first sound. So this is Abba. Okay, now you have to match. Yep, on the left, correct. Okay, again. Correct. Good.
So the sound that is correct, they should put on that sound, right?
Yes, correct. You have to match with the first one that you hear immediately after you click on the orange. Okay, so basically it's just multiple choice. You hear one and then you have two options. Which one was it? That was the
So
first.
hear one and then the second one you pair up. Which one is correct?
Yes, correct. You have to pair up this identical one with the first one that you hear.
Oh, they give you how many choices? Like they give you.
Okay, so when you click this, you hear one, right?
Yeah.
So this is your target sound. This is your target sound. Then they give you one on the left, one on the right. Your target is the same as left side or right side.
Oh,
You
which one is correct?
Yeah, correct. So is the left one the same as the target or is the right one the same as the target? Okay, so you have to listen to the target. Okay, try again. So this is the target. This is the option. Okay, yeah, all right. So these are the two options to match to the target.
So do I have to teach the student how to play each game?
Typically in our first lesson, this is exactly what happens. Like what I'm going through with you, with the student. Yeah, so this is a chargeable session and it is a consult session.
Is that included in the whole package?
It depends on how you cost it. Typically the private providers would. So if let's say it is you are selling every week, they have a consultation session with you together with this program, then this would be considered the first consultation session. You know what I mean? So it is like and to make sure, because you have to do some motivational things, you have to do, this is how often you have to do it, you know, you know, and then we'll be tracking. So there's some of that behavioral expectation setting as well.
So I have to get the kids to come in and show the kids how to do it and motivate him to do it.
Yeah, correct. This is typically what we do in our very first consult session.
And how long did usually it takes?
It would be done in an hour under that, or because it's a lot of like exactly what I'm doing with you now, all right? Or maybe if the kids are typically very fast, it could be 30 minutes to get through all the games. You can let them play a little bit and then you talk about the behavioral part, all right? So it depends on...
What about the introduction? What does that mean?
You can have a look at it, click on an introduction. You can play it actually just to show the kids as well, because the introduction actually explains it. So change the screen for me, then yeah.
Get ready for a knowledge and brain speed workout.
Click the yellow planet to listen to a word.
Yeah, so in the introduction is completely guided.
The picture that best represents the word you heard.
Yeah, so you can choose to click on the English introduction actually.
If you need help with the vocabulary, click the question mark to turn on help mode and hear the word for each picture.
Okay, you can try it.
But I cannot hear anything.
No, you try you click on the help button first, the little question mark at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The help mode can help you learn the vocabulary, but when you use the help mode, you will earn fewer points, and you may have to repeat these words without help later. Help is on. Click the yellow planet to start. Now, click the correct picture. Help mode stays on until you click the question mark again or until you have answered all the trials in a group. Click the question mark to turn the help mode off. Help is off. Click the yellow planet to start.
That's it.
Click on the orange button again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every time you want to. Oh, we missed that.
B.
Yeah.
Bell. Ache. Dip.
Chip.
It's quite hard. Dip, I think.
Dip.
I think,
Oh,
yeah,
dip.
I think it was dip. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you got it? Yeah,
Mm.
so I think Catherine, this is probably better. You know, since you're new to the program, just play all the English introduction.
Right.
Yeah, with the student, all right, as you're getting familiar with the program.
So there's only about 6
Yeah,
of them.
okay. One more. Can you go to Stellar Stories? Go to Stellar Stories. That's the only one. That's the one we haven't done. Okay.
Which
And
one?
yeah, Stellar Story. Now this one has 2 components. This one doesn't has as much. Yeah, you can click on either of them because there's 2 different types of presentation.
This one?
Yep.
Improving your grammar knowledge at the same time as working on your memory is called cross-training. It's time for Stellar Stories.
Click on the orange.
The fish sandwich is made for the toddler.
Then what should I do?
You have to find the one that is matching the most. The fish sandwich is made for the toddler, right? So the end picture, because this is the toddler making it, you see, is made for the and then the orange button again. So this is English structures.
Fries are made for the bus boy.
The sauce is made for the boy, is it? So
The fries are made for the bus boy.
the bus boy. Okay, try again.
The menu is red for the boy.
Red for the boy. Yep. Okay, that one.
The meal is prepared for the girl.
Yep. Okay. So it will go through different sets of English structures.
For the boy.
So this is one. But there
Yep.
are 2 ways.
Yeah, there are 2 types of Stellar Stories. All right, the language one. So you go to the other one is following simple directions. Up again. Up. Up. Higher. Yeah. Okay. Literacy is here. Yep. So Stellar Stories. Follow early. No, just now was follow directions. The upper one. We haven't done the first top one. Yeah, correct.
Improve your grammar knowledge and recall. It's time for Stellar Stories.
Okay, click the orange button.
Touch the purple backpack and the red soda.
Yep, this is following directions. Okay, and then click the orange again.
Touch the red hat and the green soda. Touch the orange soda and the purple hat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all good? Yeah, so I think what you do is for those that have the introduction, you play the video, so there's some explanation. And only the Stellar Stories, I think you have the 2 components without actual explanation, but it's English, so it's quite self-explanatory. And you only choose the early levels to demonstrate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it will progressively get harder.
So once I show them about this, okay, this literacy thing, and they can go back and do their
correct.
So they
correct.
press the start button there, right?
Correct. And once they press the start button, they will see the games that are lighted up for that day. So there will be 3 games they can select. So every day they will just have to complete, or 5 days a week or 3 days a week. Do as much as you can. If you want results, go for 5 days. The weaker they are, go for more frequency. All right. So yeah, so each day those games should be completed with a pair of headsets. That would be the key instructions.
Okay. So in that case, I can get them to start soon. So I can get them to come in.
Yes, because you have already set them up. So you just have to be familiar with some of the tabs, with the username, with the demo tabs, and then you're ready to go.
So the starting date for them is today, right? Because I set the account, or the day they start to press the button, right?
Yeah, they start to press the button. So not started for them yet.
Okay. So I need to get them in to explain to them. But
Correct.
actually, if they actually go into the demo, they can already see themselves too.
Yes, correct. So, but the issue becomes, if they are familiar, yes, you're right. Sometimes you can, show them what to do. But sometimes because they come into demo, they're so lost, they don't know which one to click. They may have clicked something wrong. And then so there's a lot of questions back and forth. You can do that as well. If they are familiar, especially, you can say the account has already been set up for you. Go to the demos, it's literacy, look under literacy to learn how to play the games. It could be like that as well. Yeah.
Because the mother, when they joined the program, they said they have a pack of like a CD they have to load into the computer.
Oh my gosh, that was ancient. That was a long time ago.
When her first son.
I see.
But I don't think that much longer, because his son is only not much older. I mean.
But we haven't used CDs for like 8 years, maybe 6 years.
Yeah, his older son is 5 years older only.
5 years older. Okay, so he's 12 now, though. So the elder son would have been 17 now. So it's a long time ago.
So maybe he did it when he's few years old. So maybe
yeah, correct. When he's correct. It was almost 10 years ago. It's a long time ago. The CD model.
Okay, so is it important I have to, like, I can phone the mother and set your account and set up? I gave her all the information. She can go into it because her first son did all this, so she can be familiar with it.
Yeah, although it has been a very long time ago, so you have to, or the other thing is that you can take her through on the phone or on the call, that you go to the demo button and then you just, like what I do with you. I do think that it will be helpful if there's some guidance, or she can explore until she needs help, and all the demonstrations are there anyway.
And in terms of the motivation for the kids, do you think it's still better for the kids to come in? Because I never see the kid, I only see the mother once.
I see. In that case, I'm going to suggest that you, I'm going to give you a few papers. One of them is a score sheet. You want him to record every time he finishes a game, because then you can track the frequency. You see, a lot of times I can tell you the biggest issue with this is that kids don't do it, then there are no results. Right? So the motivational aspect, where you can kind of have to impose it, where every week, they might have to scan to you, email, take a photo of the score sheet for that week and email you, right? But this, you actually,
on the computer?
You can look from the computer. In fact, you don't need the score sheet. We have much more sophisticated scores. The issue is that if the child doesn't have to account to you, they might not do the homework, you see.
Yeah. Have them do the score sheet.
Yeah, correct. So you're forcing them to account to you. You actually don't need the score sheet, but is that they are doing it, the teacher is watching, they have to hand in their homework, something like that, to create that effect. Yeah. Okay.
Apart from score sheet, what else I have to?
No, the only things will come if the kids are stuck. But let's look at the report, and then we can maybe at the next session look at some of the scores, and I can tell you a little bit more about results interpretation, and also if the kids get stuck, what are the strategies. Actually, a lot of the strategies are in the resource. If the game gets stuck, fast forward actually tell you, but there's a button you need to click and all the strategies will come out there. But let's wait for some results before we talk about that. How about that?
Okay, so I will first of all let the mother know the account and the password, and so she can go in and look into the demo.
Correct. And then you have to give her the URL link, because she's used to the CD. She wouldn't even know what is the website.
Oh, the URL link.
Yeah, correct. So remember, for staff, you go to mysilent.com. Okay, you have to note this down. For staff, you use mysilent.com. For students, you use silent.com/ /learner. Cylent.com/learner.
So for staff is mySciLearn.
.com. mySciLearn, SCILearn.com.
SCILearn.com.
Yes.
Okay.
For students, it is cylent.com/learner. LEARNER.
Silent learn learner.com or learn?
No, silent. LEARN.
SCILEARN.
Yep. .com
.com.
/learner. LEARNER.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where they go, and you have to tell them that the organization site they have to choose is your psychological practice name, Connection.
Oh, they have to choose the.
Yeah, you remember that the very first step in the very first time they log in, they will ask you what school do you belong to.
Yeah.
Right.
To click in the Connection Psychology.
Yeah, they have to type, and then the drop down will come out, and they have to click on it.
I think they have an HK in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a HK, but it doesn't matter. If you just type Connection, it will show up. You don't have to type precisely, okay? So so once you do that, then they are all set. These are the information you need to send to them.
Okay, so the link, the connection, and
Correct.
the ID and password.
Correct. And then the demo button is where they go to look under literacy.
Look under
literacy, because the program he will be working on is literacy. So when they go into demos, they have to specifically look at the games under literacy. Ignore all the other games. Otherwise, they might click into foundation. They might click into all this and that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then I'll okay, so I'll set them up, and then I'll get them to talk to them 1 week later.
Yeah, and then before that, we'll schedule another call.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can do that on the email, and it depends on. I mean, we can do it again this time next week. All right, depending on whether they have already started, whether we have anything to look at. And then so we'll just communicate on email.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Can I have your WhatsApp?
Yes. So my number is, and I will also link you up. I will set up a group chat where another of my colleague, because sometimes I might be a bit slow in responding, then my colleague can help as well. So you have my number is 65.
Let's see.
Yep, that's okay.
Okay, and your number is 65?
Yeah, +65, that's the country code, that's Singapore, yeah? So my number is 9877 1546.
And show your last name is
Chia, CHIA.
CHIA. Okay. Okay, I think you have to send me a few things. So let's recap on the few things I'm going to.
I will send you the scope and sequence. I will send you the PowerPoint slides. I will send you the scope and sequence. Yeah, for all the programs, but you have to look at literacy for him specifically. I will send you the score sheet for literacy. Okay, so I will give you the PPT link that I have gone through. I will send you the scope and sequence so that you know each of the game, what that it works on. And then
is it actually the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I will send you the PowerPoint as well, but the scope and sequence are individual PDF documents.
Okay.
So I'll just give you links, right? That you can folders that you can go in to download these.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, can you send me the research paper?
Yeah. Research paper on the Stanford one. I'll send you that as well.
Yeah, because not the Stanford one, but all the other ones that you have. Because I'm interested in the first line. You said this research find this exercise and cognitive function. And do you have research on that one also?
Okay, I can find you specifically something for that. But if you go into evidence, you know, on this page actually that you're on right now on your screen, right? You click on evidence, you might be able to see some of these, but it's effectiveness. Maybe you can look at effectiveness. Sometimes they do have yeah, evidence of effectiveness, because this comes out a lot. The intensity, the okay, move up. Yeah, you see the National Center, if you go up a little bit, yeah, on intensive intervention. So you might want to look at this, for example, right? Those that mention that you have to work on it intensively, of mental exercises giving to results. Okay, see if you can download, because sometimes they can download from here, you know. But these are more a list, huh?
Yeah, this is a list.
Yeah, okay. Can you scroll up? See if there's any way you can download anything. Scroll up to right up to the top. Is there anything you can download? You cannot download anything. Okay, let's go back up back to the previous screen. The first tab, I think. Okay, wait, intervention chart, yeah, okay. Okay, let me see if I can find something for you pertaining to those things.
Yeah, can you send me the things
Yeah.
you have for the research?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Great. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, all the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wait, hello.
Hi, 白小姐。
係